The teaser. The divorce papers land on Jin-woo's desk with a soft thud that echoes like a gunshot through the restaurant's private room. 20 men in expensive suits freeze mid-conversation. His wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, stands across from him, spine straight, eyes dry. He reads the first line, then looks up at her with an expression that makes his lieutenants step back. When he speaks, his voice is quiet enough that everyone leans in to hear. "You think I'm signing away the only good thing I've ever done?" For years earlier, the hospital cafeteria smells like burnt coffee and antiseptic at 3 in the morning. Nadia Mitchell counts her tips from the double shift, barely enough to cover this week's groceries. Her nursing assistant certification is almost complete, but almost doesn't pay bills. Her studio apartment in Itaewon costs more than she makes, and her mother's care facility back in Houston keeps calling about overdue payments. She's so tired her bones ache. "Excuse me." The voice is accented, polite. "Is this seat taken?" Nadia looks up. The man is Korean, mid-30s, wearing a suit that probably costs more than her car. Handsome in a severe way, sharp jaw, dark eyes that assess everything, an almost military bearing. At 3 a.m. in a hospital cafeteria, he looks wildly out of place. "All yours," she says. He sits. Doesn't eat, doesn't drink. Just sits there, staring at nothing. After 5 minutes of silence, Nadia asks, "You okay?" "My nephew." His voice is carefully controlled. "Surgery. They said he'll be fine," but he stops, visibly collects himself. "I'm sorry. You don't need to hear this. I work here. I hear everything." She slides her coffee toward him. "Looks like you need this more than me." He takes it. Their fingers brush. He looks at her. Really looks, like he's seeing her for the first time. "Thank you." "Nadia," she offers. Jin-woo. His nephew recovers. But Jin-woo keeps appearing in the cafeteria. 3 a.m. 4 a.m. Whenever Nadia's shift ends, he's there. They talk about nothing important. Seoul's weather, American coffee versus Korean, her favorite books. He never mentions what he does for work. She doesn't ask. 6 weeks later, he asks her to dinner. The restaurant is absurdly fancy. Nadia wears her only dress and still feels underdressed. Jin-woo watches her with an intensity that should be uncomfortable, but somehow isn't. "I need to tell you something," he says over dessert. "My family business is complicated." Complicated how? The kind that makes relationships difficult. Dangerous, even. His jaw tightens. "I shouldn't have asked you here. This was selfish." Nadia sets down her fork. "Let me decide what's dangerous for me." Something shifts in his expression. "You don't know what you're saying. Then tell me." He does. Not everything. She'll learn the full scope later, but enough. His family controls significant portions of Seoul's underground. Gambling, protection, information. He's being groomed to take over from his father. Marriage is expected, but it's treated as a business arrangement, not a choice. "I'm telling you this so you'll leave," he finishes. "So you'll be safe." Nadia thinks about her tiny apartment, her absent father, her mother who chose pills over parenting. She's been safe her whole life. Safe and small and invisible. "What if I don't want to leave?" she asks. "Then I'm the most selfish man alive." He reaches across the table, takes her hand. "Because I'll keep you." They marry 3 months later. Jin-woo's family is appalled. A foreigner, a black woman, someone with no connections or dowry. His father refuses to attend. His mother sends a curt message. This will end badly. But Jin-woo doesn't care. He moves Nadia into his penthouse, clears her mother's facility debt, treats her like she's precious. In private, he's soft, thoughtful, attentive, surprisingly funny. In public, he's terrifying. She watches him command rooms full of dangerous men with a few quiet words. "They're afraid of you," she observes one night. "They should be." He pulls her close. "I'm afraid of you too." "Why?" "Because you could destroy me completely. And I'd let you. For 2 years, it's almost perfect. Then the cracks appear. Jin-woo's father dies. Suddenly, violently, in a business dispute that Jin-woo won't discuss. Jin-woo inherits everything. The organization, the obligations, the enemies. He starts coming home later. Missing dinners. Disappearing for days with no explanation. "Talk to me," Nadia pleads. "I'm protecting you," he says. "The less you know, the safer you are. I didn't marry you to be kept safe. I married you to be your partner. This isn't your world. You made it my world when you put that ring on my finger." But he won't bend. Won't share the burden. Treats her like expensive china, Beautiful, breakable, meant to be displayed but never used. Year 3, she starts finding things. Bloodstained shirts hidden in the laundry, weapons in unexpected places. Once, a photo of a dead man on his desk. She recognized the face from news reports about a gang execution. Jin-woo, what did you do? What I had to. His voice is flat. Don't ask me again. She stops asking. Starts withdrawing. They're polite strangers sharing a penthouse. Year 4, everything shatters. Jin-woo's younger brother Sejun is killed in a territory dispute. Jin-woo doesn't come home for 3 days. When he finally appears, there's blood on his collar and emptiness in his eyes. I'm sorry, Nadia whispers. You shouldn't be here. He won't look at her. This life, it's poison. Everything I touch dies. I'm not afraid, you should be. I am. Finally, he meets her eyes. Leave, Nadia. While you still can. While I'm still human enough to let you go. Is that what you want? His silence is answer enough. She packs that night. Files the divorce papers the next morning. Now, the restaurant's private room goes silent when she enters. 20 of Jin-woo's men, mid-meeting, all staring at the black woman who dared interrupt their boss. Nadia's hands shake, but her voice stays steady. I need 5 minutes. Jin-woo's expression reveals nothing. Everyone out. They file out quickly. Nadia waits until the door closes, then slides the papers across his desk. He reads the first page slowly. You think I'm signing away the only good thing I've ever done? Nadia's breath catches. The only good thing? Jin-woo, you won't even talk to me. Because talking means involving you. He stands, paces to the window. Means pulling you deeper into this. Do you know what they do to wives of men like me? The things they threaten to make us cooperate. So your solution is to push me away completely? My solution is to keep you alive. His voice cracks slightly. Sejun died because of me. Because someone wanted leverage. If they'd known how much you mean to me, they would have taken you instead. That's not how marriage works. You don't get to decide alone. In my world, I do. He turns, and the devastation in his eyes stops her words. Every moment you're with me, you're a target. I wake up every morning terrified that today's the day someone figures out that you're not just my wife. You're the only thing in this entire city I couldn't survive losing. Nadia's throat tightens. Then why won't you let me in? Let me help. Help how? Should I tell you about the men I've killed? The families I've destroyed? Should I come home covered in blood and expect you to wash it off like it's normal? He laughs bitterly. I'm trying to save you from becoming like me. I don't need saving. I need my husband back. He's gone. The words are flat. Sejun's death, something broke. I can't be the man you married and survive in this world. So I choose your survival over everything else. Even us. Nadia walks to the desk, picks up a pen, holds it out. Then sign. Let me go, if that's really what you want. Jin-woo stares at the pen like it's a weapon. Nadia, sign it. Prove you're as strong as everyone thinks you are. Prove you can let me walk away. His hand trembles as he reaches for the pen. Takes it. Uncaps it. The tip hovers over the signature line. Then he throws it across the room. I can't. His voice breaks completely. I can't do it. I'm not that strong. Then stop trying to be. Nadia rounds the desk, cups his face in her hands. Stop protecting me from your world and start trusting me to stand in it with you. You don't know what you're asking. Yes, I do. I'm asking you to stop treating me like I'm fragile. I grew up in Third Ward Houston. My mother was an addict. My father disappeared. I put myself through school working 3 jobs. I'm not breakable. Everyone's breakable in my world. Then we'll be breakable together. She kisses him softly. But we do it together. No more secrets. No more protecting me by shutting me out. You want me safe? Teach me how to be safe. You want me out of danger? Tell me what the dangers are. But don't. Her voice hardens. Don't push me away and call it love. Jin-woo pulls her against him, burying his face in her neck. His shoulders shake. She realizes he's crying. This man who commands an empire, who terrifies hardened criminals, is falling apart in her arms. I don't know how to do this, he whispers. Be vulnerable. Share the weight. My father taught me that emotions are weaknesses. Your father was wrong. Sejun died because I made an emotional decision. I protected someone who betrayed us because he had a family. That mercy got my brother killed. And you think becoming a monster honors Sejun's memory? He pulls back, looks at her. I think becoming a monster keeps you alive. I don't want a monster. I want Jin-woo, the man who sat in a hospital cafeteria at 3 a.m. The one who memorized how I take my coffee. Who learned to cook jollof rice because he knew I missed home. She wipes his tears with her thumbs. That man is still in there. I'm not giving up on him. What if that man gets you killed? What if pushing me away kills us both? She picks up the divorce papers, tears them in half. I'm not leaving. You want me gone? You'll have to make me go. And we both know you won't do that. Jin-woo catches her wrist. This isn't a game, Nadia. Yesterday, someone sent a photo to my office. You, leaving the hospital after your shift. They know your routine. They're watching. Fear flickers through her, but she doesn't flinch. Then tell me who. Tell me everything. Stop protecting me with ignorance. He studies her for a long moment. Then sit down. For the next 2 hours, he talks. Explains the complex web of alliances and enmities. The territorial disputes. The challenge to his leadership since his father's death. Younger, more ruthless men questioning whether he's too soft, too distracted by his foreign wife. The photo was a warning. Prove you're strong, or we'll take what you love. They expect me to either divorce you or use you as a show of power, he finishes. Parade you around as a trophy to prove I'm in control. What do you want to do? Keep you locked in the penthouse where nothing can touch you. Nadia almost smiles. Not an option. I know. He takes her hands. Which is why I need you to understand what staying means. You'll meet security. Training. You'll attend events where people are actively hoping for my downfall. You'll smile while they insult you to your face. And you'll know, every moment, that someone might try to use you against me. Okay. Okay. He looks incredulous. I just told you. I heard you. And I'm saying okay. Teach me what I need to know. Introduce me to your world properly. Not as someone to hide, but as your partner. Let me help carry this weight. Why? The question sounds torn from him. Why would you choose this? Because 4 years ago, a man sat in a hospital cafeteria and trusted me enough to show me he was scared. Because he saw me, really saw me, when everyone else looked through me. Because he made me feel like I mattered. She squeezes his hands. I choose this because I choose you. All of you. Not just the parts that are easy to love. Jin-woo pulls her into his lap, holds her like she's the only solid thing in his world. I'll probably mess this up. I'm not good at sharing control. We'll figure it out. They'll come after you harder when they realize you're staying. Then we'll be ready. He kisses her, desperate, grateful, promising. When he pulls back, his eyes are clearer than she's seen them in months. No more secrets, he says. I'll tell you everything. Even the ugly parts. Especially the ugly parts. And you'll tell me when it's too much. When you need to step back. I promise. They seal it with another kiss. The torn divorce papers scattered on the floor like shed skin. The first test comes 2 days later. Jin-woo's rivals call a meeting of the major families. Essentially a public challenge to his leadership. Nadia insists on attending. His men are horrified. Jin-woo is conflicted. But he made a promise. Partnership, not protection. You'll stay beside me, he instructs in the car. Don't speak unless I indicate. These men will try to provoke you to undermine me. I've dealt with racism my whole life, Nadia says calmly. I can handle some gangsters with fragile egos. His lip quirks. You're terrifying, you know that? Good. They should be scared of both of us. The meeting is in a traditional hanok, beautiful and tense. 15 men sit around a low table. Their eyes track Nadia with open hostility as she enters beside Jin-woo. He doesn't acknowledge their stares, just sits at the head of the table and pulls her down beside him. A clear claim. The oldest man, Park Dong-min, speaks first. Calm Jin-woo. We're concerned about your leadership. Since your father's death, you've been distracted. Distracted, Jin-woo repeats. Elaborate. Your foreign wife. Park's smile is cruel. She's made you soft. Hesitant. The territory disputes in Gangnam. You negotiated instead of taking action. The shipment interception last month, you showed mercy. These aren't the actions of a strong leader. Aren't they? Jin-woo's voice is dangerously quiet. I negotiated in Gangnam and now control 3 additional blocks without bloodshed. I showed mercy last month and gained information that led to Park Hyun-sik's arrest. He pauses. Unless you're suggesting violence is the only measure of strength? Murmurs around the table. Park's smile tightens. Your wife knows nothing of our world. She weakens your position. My wife, Jin-woo says clearly, is sitting right here. If you have concerns about her, address them to her face. The room goes silent. This isn't how things are done. Women don't participate. Don't speak, certainly don't get deferred to in business matters. Park turns to Nadia, condescension dripping from every word. Mrs. Khan, do you understand what your husband does? Yes, Nadia says. Do you understand what I do? Confusion flickers across Park's face. You're a nurse. I was a nursing assistant. Now I run the Khan Foundation's Community Health Initiative, clinics in neighborhoods your businesses operate in. I know every family in Itaewon, Gangnam, and Hongdae. I know which teenagers are being recruited by rival gangs, which grandmothers see everything from their windows, which shop owners are drowning in protection fees. She smiles pleasantly. I know things you'll never know because people like you have never bothered to see them as human. The temperature drops. Jin-woo's hand finds hers under the table, squeezes once. Pride, support, warning. Park's face darkens. Is that a threat? It's information, Nadia says. The kind my husband values. He negotiates because I've shown him there are tools beyond violence. He shows mercy because I've taught him that loyalty earned lasts longer than loyalty forced. You see weakness. I see evolution. Another man speaks up, younger, ambitious. Evolution doesn't hold territory, doesn't it? Jin-woo cuts in. In the 6 months since my wife started the health initiative, we've had 0 defections from our organization to rival groups. Community cooperation is up 40%. Police complaints are down. Our businesses operate with less interference because people trust us. He looks around the table. You can rule by fear. It works until someone scarier comes along. Or you can rule by making people invested in your success. That lasts. Pretty words, Park sneers. But when Lee Sung-ho's crew came for Sejun, your pretty words didn't save him. The room freezes. Mentioning Sejun's death is a deliberate provocation, designed to make Jin-woo lose control. Jin-woo's grip on Nadia's hand tightens, but his voice stays level. No, they didn't. And the men responsible are dead. As is anyone who helped them. As is anyone who knew and stayed silent. He leans forward slightly. I negotiated with Lee Sung-ho 3 times before my brother's death. Showed mercy twice. The 3rd time, I made an example so thorough that 2 rival organizations dissolved themselves rather than risk my attention. So let me be very clear. My wife has made me strategic, not soft. And that's significantly more dangerous. Silence. Then Park plays his final card. Your father would be ashamed. My father, Jin-woo says quietly, died alone and hated, killed by men he thought he controlled through fear. I'll die old, beside my wife, having built something sustainable. Tell me which legacy is stronger. Park stands abruptly. This is a waste of time. You're compromised, Khan. A foreign woman has made you weak, and we all see it. Jin-woo doesn't stand, doesn't raise his voice. Then challenge me properly. Call for a leadership vote. Put your own name forward. But stop hiding behind coded language and innuendo. He smiles, cold and sharp. Or are you too weak to back up your concerns with action? Park's face goes red. Several other men shift uncomfortably. Challenging Jin-woo directly means committing fully, risking everything on the outcome. Park isn't prepared for that. We'll be watching, Park finally says. I'm counting on it, Jin-woo replies. After they leave, Nadia exhales shakily. You were perfect. Jin-woo cups her face. Terrifying and perfect. Did you see Park's expression when you mentioned the shop owners? I thought I went too far. You went exactly far enough. You showed them you're not decoration. You're an asset they don't know how to counter. He kisses her forehead. I'm sorry he mentioned Sejun. Are you okay? I will be. He pulls her close. Having you beside me helps. I'm not alone with the weight anymore. Over the next months, they build a new rhythm. Jin-woo teaches Nadia the business, not the violent parts, but the strategy, the relationships, the economics. She teaches him community building, soft power, long-term thinking. They're not conventional, but they're effective. When Park tries to move on one of their territories, Nadia's health clinics provide early warning. Grandmothers who trust her report the strangers asking questions. When a shipment gets intersected, Jin-woo's new approach of diversification, Nadia's suggestion, means they don't lose everything. When the police investigate, the community stays quiet because Nadia's initiatives have given them reason to protect the Khan organization. They're not without struggles. Jin-woo still has nightmares about Sejun. Nadia occasionally gets overwhelmed by the moral complexity of their life. They argue about boundaries, about risk, about how much to share. But they argue together. and they heal together. A year after the torn divorce papers, Jin-woo's leadership is unquestioned. The younger generation respects his strategic approach. The older generation has grudgingly accepted that his methods work. Park Dong-min has retired to Busan, his influence gone. Nadia's foundation has expanded to 5 neighborhoods. She's learned conversational Korean, navigated the complex social dynamics of Jin-woo's world, and earned a reputation as someone you don't underestimate. On their 5th anniversary, Jin-woo takes her back to the hospital cafeteria where they met. "Remember when you gave me your coffee?" he asks. "You look like you needed it." "I needed you. I just didn't know it yet." He takes her hand. "Thank you for not leaving, for tearing up those papers, for forcing me to be brave enough to let you in. Thank you for finally trusting me with the truth." They sit in the same seats as that first night, drinking terrible coffee, surrounded by tired medical staff and worried families. In this moment, they're not a crime boss and his wife. Just Jin-woo and Nadia, 2 people who found each other in the dark and chose to stay. "I love you," he says, "even when I'm terrible at showing it." "I love you," she replies, "even when you're being impossibly stubborn." He smiles, the real smile, the one only she gets to see. "We're a disaster. We're a partnership. Best thing I ever did," he murmurs, echoing his words from the day she brought the divorce papers. And Nadia, who once felt invisible and small, who poured herself out for people who didn't value her, who almost walked away from the hardest, most complicated love she's ever known. Nadia knows. He's right. Sometimes the best things are the ones you have to fight for. The ones that don't come easy. The ones that demand you be braver, stronger, more honest than you ever thought possible. She tears up the metaphorical divorce papers every day by choosing to stay. By choosing partnership over safety. By choosing love that's messy and real over love that's comfortable and fake. And Jin-woo, who was taught that emotions were weakness, that vulnerability was death, that the only way to survive was alone. Jin-woo learns that the strongest thing he ever did was let her in. They leave the hospital hand in hand, walking into their complicated, dangerous, beautiful life together. Not perfect, not easy, but completely, undeniably theirs.